Mindset. This is absolutely crucial right now. Being in the right frame of mind, having the right attitude is absolutely critical to be able to drive confidence across the rest of your team, but also confidence across your clients, about the audience, about the future of the event, etc. So one piece in terms of mindset, there's three parts to each of these, is having a growth mindset. So a number of you may have read or seen insights into the idea of growth and fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is someone who feels there's always a certain way of doing stuff. You can't learn, you can't get better. You're a natural salesperson or you're not. Growth mindset, which is far more impactful in terms of outputs right now based on all the research, is someone who prioritizes learning and always thinks, I can do better. I can make a mistake, but I'll get better from it. So it's always about progressing and getting stronger and stronger in terms of skill set. Number two is a mindset which is optimistic. Again, there's far more chance of being a successful salesperson right now if there is optimism in the way you sell and the way you position things and talk to your clients about the situation. So being an optimistic salesperson is absolutely crucial. It doesn't mean not being realistic, but being optimistic as opposed to pessimistic is going to have a huge impact on the client. And the last one is all about well-being, which is an absolutely critical part right now in terms of event sales throughout leadership and in terms of event businesses and how you set your teams up to succeed. But being able as a salesperson to be resilient to all the pushbacks and tough conversations you have to have and looking after your own welfare is absolutely crucial. So these are the first bits around mindset. We're going to move on to the next one in about 5 minutes, but I want to pass over to you guys who are sitting there very, very quietly at the moment because you're on mute, and I'd love you to take your mutes off, and I'd love to hear from you guys and get you talking about some experiences around this and how the mindset has helped you in the past year and what it's allowed you to do moving forward. So Shaun, why don't we start with you around mindset? What's your experience? What have you learned? What would you share?
Well, I've been working in the travel industry for the last 6-7 months now. Probably a little bit longer than that. And as you probably know, it's one of the most difficult industries to be in at the moment. I've had to be very resilient and had to have a very strong mindset over that period, more so than I had to be in my whole sales career. Yeah. With destinations, we had to shift the show from a live event to a virtual event in quite a short space of time. But the thing that's helped me to be optimistic in that time and to be resilient is the research piece that we did at the beginning of that process. Because what we were able to do is share the research from our visitors' feedback and from the exhibitors' feedback to instill the confidence into our clients that a virtual event would work for them. And also that instilled confidence into the team to be able to sell the show, to deliver a show that would deliver all the with what the client needed to achieve, which was to obviously sell holidays or either and gain some research or insight into the industry moving forward. So with the research piece that we did at the beginning, we were able to instill that confidence into the team and into the exhibitors and the visitors that this platform would work for them. Now looking at it after the fact, we split across 2 date lines. The first one worked quite well because it was all about research. The second one was more commercially driven. It didn't work so well. But what we learned from it is we had some insight into the buying cycles. We had some insight into the client's mindset over the next 12 months, the short term. And just for the team as well, really, we learned a lot about the industry, how they're thinking and what their plans were for the next 12 months. And we're able to use that experience moving forward and develop the next show, if it's going to be a hybrid one, which is virtual and a live one, or whether it's just going to be a virtual event, a live event on its own.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so the kind of key learning there is around the importance of research to really cement the ability to be optimistic and the ability to really drive client belief and your belief that something's going to work because there's some real rigor behind it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that I'm going to reiterate on my next couple of points, really, because I think it's really, really important.
Okay, love it. Okay, Shaun, thank you very much. Keep jumping in if there's more to add as we go through. Wellah, what's your experience around this one in terms of mindset?
Yes, well, having worked with read exhibitions for the last 12 years, I've always been used to selling, space, in-person events. So when the pandemic happened and not having a show for the last 18 months and finally being told that we would definitely be running a live event, the whole mindset has changed because our offering was going to be different. We were just not selling space, but with the whole density rules, the badge restriction, and offering a hybrid event, it was kind of like having to take a step back and thinking, how can I offer this to my client? I'm charging them for the same rates that we normally would pre-pandemic, and we are restricting them from badges, and the number of audience will not be the same as in 2019. So that was the kind of challenge that we were facing before we were going out to sell to our clients. So what we did as a group was that we conducted role plays to make ourselves comfortable, to understand how the calculations work in our minds when we were doing a presentation, to make our clients comfortable that, okay, if this is how you're going to be positioning yourself at the event with this stand size, this is the number of exhibitor badges you can only take, and this is the number of visitors at a maximum time that you can accommodate. Yeah. So of course, for us as a salesperson, it was very uncomfortable at first, but the moment we started to speak to our colleagues and did a role play and trying to manage objections and trying to handle that, we kind of like eased into the process. And then when the moment we went out to our clients, we did of course face a lot of objections and kickback, because you're charging us the same thing and you're giving us less of an exhibitor badges and less visitors. I mean, how can we make an ROI on this offering? But we did tell them that it's a hybrid event. What we're doing for you is, yes, not all of the buyers will not come to the event, but with our virtual offering happening the week after that, we can make sure that you get the audience that normally comes to the event through the virtual offering. So that kind of like made them understand that, okay, it's going to be different this year. It will be limited, but we do have a virtual offering happening the week after the in-person event. So that kind of like worked for us in the end. And what happened then is our show delivered about 110 countries. Attendees from 110 countries, and our exhibitors really found our event to be safe and quality, because in normal years the ratio was 12 visitors, 12 buyers per one exhibiting company. Yep. This year we were able to deliver 11 visitors and buyers per one exhibiting company. So that kind of like, put it in perspective there, they were still getting the ratio as they were in normal years, close to it anyway.
I love both of those examples, and well, just to touch on your one there, I think there's so many different elements on this screen that you kind of covered there, because one of them is kind of that resilience piece by doing the role plays and getting people, I suppose to a degree, shifting perspective, but kind of getting used to that new habit of kind of going through this slightly different process. It creates a resilience as opposed to just throwing the salespeople straight in and say, give it a go. Actually, there is that practice piece there. Was that important, that practice side?
It was very important because we were not convinced at first. Naturally, we were selling the same package, but with lesser badges and lesser audience that we will bring into our exhibitors. It's a hybrid event, so we needed to instill in our minds that, the mindset is different this year. It's not going to be this same as other years where it's just space, where there's going to be bountiful of people coming into the show. About more targeted approach, more targeted buyers, and and that's what we were imparting to our clients in the end, and they understood that.